Welcome to iPen Visions Podcast, interviews and conversations, where we bring authors, speakers, entrepreneurs, and those with a vision to our networking community and platform. Be our guest. Include your article, your ad, your promotions, and upcoming events in our quarterly magazine. We are proud to be a part of the Collective or podcast, a virtual tour showcasing you and your business. Our podcast, the magazine, a virtual tour, all on one platform where networking, creativity, and visions. Good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Nanette Buchanan, and I am here to welcome everyone tonight to what I consider to be a great show. I don't know about the rest of you, but you keep tuning in, so therefore you must think there's some worth in it. So tonight, just like any other night, we're bringing you an outstanding author, a gentleman who has created a platform for authors, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how hard it is to get on some of these platforms and pay out this money and then don't get the right thing. And we're going to go deep into that with our guest tonight. But before I introduce my guest, I got to bring on my partner that does all of the background work, all the behind the scenes things for me. I want to welcome her. Guys, I don't know where she is now because I'll let her tell us where she is. I have no idea where she is now. Are you in the country?
Yes, I am. Where in the world is Felice Reese?
Where is Felice? You like Waldo now these last couple of weeks. Is she in the Americas? Where is she going now?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is Felice Reese?
Okay. So where are you now?
I am still in Dallas, Texas, and
you're still in Texas. Okay.
I believe that I'll be here for the rest of the month.
Okay. Yeah, well, at least I know where you are.
Well, there you go.
Okay. See, it's a good thing I didn't get my ticket, right?
Well, again, don't give me a reason to not stay here.
I hear you. But I thank you for being here. I thank you for no matter where you go.
No matter where I am.
That shows you how great our social services networking is. Because I can remember back in the day, this wouldn't have been possible.
No, not at all.
No, you wouldn't have been able to do all of this.
That's right.
So we're going to talk to an innovator, someone who is doing things and moving big things for authors like myself and like others. We want to as open up this networking community that we talk about all the time. We want to expand and let people know that there are platforms that you go on that you can get some worthy information. So we're willing tonight to just give you some of that worthy information. God bless you. I want to bring him onto the stage. You know how we do. There's no need for me to try to make it seem like we do anything different because it's not going to be different today. So what we want to do is we want to bring him to the stage immediately. Let's bring to the stage tonight's guest. Tonight's guest is Dr. Edward Mulraine, and we want to bring him on the stage right away. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening. How are you two? All is well on this end. You know what I forgot to tell you that my son is looking at me real crazy, my kids, because it's my birthday today. And
oh my goodness!
I was forgot when I scheduled it, but I said no. I'm hanging out with Nanette tonight.
Thank you so much.
I'm here, yeah. So
thank you so much, and happy birthday! And happy birthday!
I'm glad to be here.
Good. Now, where are you calling from?
New York.
You're in New York. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of know that area a little bit better than I know that Dallas area that she's in. Or just so that you'll know, she recently moved to Puerto Rico. So,
okay.
So when you hear me say I don't know where she is, I literally do not know where she is, because every now and then she'll swing out into Georgia. And then every now and then she'll go back to Dallas, and now she, so I never know, but the one thing that I could say, and I'm quite sure we're going to get into that type of conversation as we go on through this conversation, is when you're working with partners and you're working with people, you have to have people that will collaborate with you and work with you, regardless of the time zone, regardless of the area that they're in. And they make sure that the connection is a solid connection because of the simple fact that they know whatever you're doing is worth it.
Yes.
So I have to commend her for that, because for the last 3 years, she's been like, well, where we going, what we doing, how we doing it. Just tell me when, and I'm there, So I want to commend her for that publicly, but not only, open up our conversation, because that's what you're talking about. That's the platform that you're talking about. So before we get into that, our first question is a general question. And like I told you before, we don't do things the standard way, because the standard way always changes anyway. So we try to keep things done the way we do it, so that everybody gets used to the conformity of what we do. And we don't introduce our guests. If you notice, I just said your name. I did not say who you were, what you did, what, I didn't do all of that, because I don't want to do you a disservice. So please, Dr. Edward Mulraine, will you please tell us who you are?
Okay. Well, I'm Edward Mulraine, born and raised in the Bronx, New York, with a beautiful mother and 6 other siblings. Went on to college and, got my degree. I'm an author of 4 books, and those 4 books have been greatly selling over the years. One of my biggest sellers is The 10-Step Man, and that is probably a 280-page book that runs down certain principles that men should have and could have, and it's moving them from good to great. Because I believe every man is good. It could be debatable, but every man is good, and they can just be better, as in greater. So the book that has been doing the best is The 10-Step Man, from moving from good to great. And then I have other books. I have a novel. It's the first portion of the novel. Came out a couple of years ago, and then I'm working on the other half. All of the chapters are finished. It's just a really big book, and it's more of a novel, and it's for hopefully turning into a movie that we can, the days of activism for Black people, and it really deals with this. I call it a social justice romance novel. So it moves from the college to the Bronx streets, and it's ultimately dealing with the Rockefeller drug laws that locked up so many of us, our people, in the 80s and 90s. So I'm an author. And then as I go around the country moving books, I said to myself, you know what? This is crazy. There's a lot of authors out there, and I mostly deal with self-published authors because most of my books are self-published. And my EA Rain, you'll have EQ Rain up here, but it's EA Rain Publishing. And EA Rain Publishing basically have helped myself as well as others self-publish their books and allow them to get that product out there, because everybody has a story. I truly believe, regardless of where you came from, even if your house was put together and you had mother and father, everybody has a story. I've used that type of instinct in my life to create that story and make that story happen in my life as well as others. And you'd be surprised, people who thought they did not have a story and thought that they did not have controversy and then victory in their lives, find that it is there. And I think that it is a great thing. And on another note, I'm also a pastor of a church in Mount Vernon, New York. I've been there for 22 years. We have a great congregation of over thousands of people, and we've had a good time. And this weather in New York has just set us back so much. I haven't been in the sanctuary in about 4 weeks. We've been virtual, but not in the sanctuary. But yeah, on that note, and a lot of my stories and a lot of my writing, as a result of being a pastor, I write a lot of my sermons. I don't necessarily preach from it, but I write a lot of them. And writing has just been a big thing in my life. I've always loved to write. I've always loved to get away. I'm a mountain man, so I love the city. I love the urban area, but I grew up in it. But you can find me in any mountain in North Carolina, any mountain in Georgia, any mountain in Tennessee, and then out of the country, of course. I love that as well. I just got back from Morocco this summer. But that's who I am. I'm just a man who's on a mission to do for others. I'm always a social justice advocate former NAACP head, and I've always been interested in making sure that people reach their greatest potential. And my biggest project right now is Author Central Station. That's a platform for writers, as a platform for authors, self-published authors, and it's also a platform for readers. Readers actually connect with with authors, in order to communicate with them about their book, about how to craft a book, develop a book. So if you're a reader out there, you could join the site authorcentralstation.com. If you're an author out there, you could join the conversation and put up any book. Everything is free on the site. I know you're getting a lot. I'm saying a lot, but everything is free on the site until you schedule a mall signing. That's the whole goal of the Author Central Station, is to allow authors as well as readers to come together and then give authors, self-published authors, a platform in malls as well as in other places that we're developing, so that they can have in-person, face-to-face book signings in these places. So our malls, we've capitalized, and we've connected with a lot of malls, mostly in New York right now, but we're spreading to New Jersey. We just got the Dream Mall in New Jersey, and we're spreading all over the country. It will be in North Carolina soon too.
Well, you know what? The thing about it is that I love about the concept. I was contacted a couple of months ago, I believe, by one of your associates who came to me and said, "Hey, you need to join this platform." And I was like, "Okay." The thing that I think most people don't understand. Okay, like you said, you gave a lot of information, and we're going to go back and revisit the fact of the author central, the depth of it, because we're going to go through it and then we're going to go back, because I think it needs to be said again and again and again and again. What a lot of people don't understand with the self-published author, and you can help me explain it to the audience, is that promotions are hard. Promotions are hard. It's a hard, that's a hard avenue to go down when you say, after I've written my book, after I've sat down and figured out how to make the chapters, and in some cases I didn't even know how to write a book. I just knew what I wanted to say.
Right.
You know, and now you're telling me I got to market and promote my book, and I don't know where to market and promote my book, because all I wanted to do was say what I had to say. You know, it goes in a vicious cycle for a lot of the writers, because all they wanted to do was write. They didn't know that, you know, they thought that if they wrote it and threw the pages up in the air, and I'm saying this fictitiously because this is the way some of the minds go, that if they threw it up in the air, somebody would collect it, put it together, put a cover on it, sell it, and all they had to do was show up and say, "Here, I'll sign it. Here, I'll sign it. Here, I'll sign it." They never, ever understand that there's so much more. And I guess that's the same way in all businesses, because I could honestly say when I went into working and doing jobs, I had no idea what was going on behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And that's in any job that we do. But I think that the writer is the one that, you know, even the ones that find it easy, you know, even the ones that can sit down and pen a book in a week, you know, after that week is over, they're getting ready for the ride out of hell. Because now they got to promote it. So talk to us a little bit about the marketing and the promotions that not so much your personal experience or my personal experience, because we already know.
Right.
To the person that doesn't know, what is it that they need to get in their mind, number one?
Right. Yeah. The reason why I developed this site is because I went to a lot of book fairs, a lot of conventions, in order to promote the book, because I know that most people, after selling to their family and friends, which is about 40, 50 people, maybe even less, it's hard after that. We're selling. We know immediately who we're going to go to. We're going to call all our friends and family. Some of them are going to come in. Others of them are going to say, you know, I'll get back to you. But we want to get beyond that, because we wrote the book so that somebody can know our story. And so we go to these conventions, we go to these book fairs, and to us, our book is great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why would
Right.
anybody
Right.
want this? He'd say,
Right.
but and family and friends and other people would say, this is great. The disappointment, the biggest disappointment you get, and I don't know if you tried this, but when you try to go to traditional publishing companies, you think it's a great book, but they're looking at it like,
Mhm.
it could be more to this. We need, and many times, let's be for real, they don't understand the Black story. They don't
Yeah.
understand the Black struggle. So you have to really try to convince them that this is a
Mhm.
great story. But everybody you speak to, they're already saying it's great. They don't read it, they don't
Mhm.
typed it, and so it's hard to get beyond your family and friends. So go to convention, but those things cost. I used to go to
Mhm.
Dallas, I go
Mhm.
to, North Carolina, Baltimore, and I'm a pastor, so I get to sell books. I go before an audience, I preach. I don't know if they read the book, but I can sell 1,000 of them at a particular audience. Only
Exactly.
because they're buying me and not necessarily what I wrote. And they're
Right.
hoping,
Right.
I'm hoping they will read it. Like the 10-Step Man book, they do read because we do conferences and we do different subject matters around it. So that's being read. But the other ones I don't know. And most people don't know if people who are buying their books actually like them.
Mhm.
The only time you could get to that point is when you have people that don't know you that say, I want to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you get confirmation outside of your circle that supports you just to support you. And
Right.
you
Right.
want to get outside of that because you're trying to develop and gravitate towards a new audience that
Mhm.
knows your name, knows your book. And if you come out with a second one, you have a larger audience than you normally would
Exactly.
if it's your family and friends. So what I
Mhm.
said was that it's expensive to go to Dallas, it's expensive to go to North Carolina and all of that stuff and all these different conventions. You got to pay for the room. You got to ship your books to the place. You got to pay for a flight. You got to
Exactly.
rent an Uber. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so at the end of
Mhm.
the day, sometimes, let's be for real, sometimes you only sell about 5 books when you go.
Right.
You
Right.
know,
Mhm.
if people don't know, they'll sell about
Mhm.
5 books or 10
Yeah.
books and say, okay. And you're not going to make your money back because sometimes those tables at book fairs, if you go to California, LA book fair, that's $1,500 for the table alone. Thousands
Yeah.
of people, but you don't
Mhm.
know if
Mhm.
you're going to sell. Brooklyn book fair is
Mhm.
great and lots of
Mhm.
people, but you don't know if you're going to sell. So my
Right.
whole thing was, listen, let's get it closer to home where you could cut back
Mhm.
on the expenses, where you could
Mhm.
cut back on the flights and cars. You're in the local community where your mall is. Regardless of what
Mhm.
people say, malls still have, especially on the weekend, a lot of people that traffic through them. And the biggest thing about malls, they're coming there to purchase something.
Yeah.
If you got
Mhm.
the thing you have to develop most, if you're trying to promote and market, is your own pitch. You got
Mhm.
to learn how to catch people and say, you know what? I wrote this book while I was sad. I wrote this book while I was struggling. I wrote this
Mhm.
book when I was divorced. I wrote this book, whatever.
Right.
Or
Right.
the
Yeah.
children's book sell a lot. Your child will
Mhm.
love this because it has these characters. Look at the illustration. I came from a
Right.
book fair in Philadelphia this week. Those people knew how to sell those black books. It was a black book fair, and they knew how to sell it. They knew how to get it. But of course, you're talking to your own people. But
Yeah.
also, you want to get beyond that. You want to
Right.
say others. You want to get to other folks and say,
Yeah.
listen, this ain't only great because it's a black book. This is great because it's a story that
Yeah.
other
Mhm.
people need to hear. You trying to
Mhm.
expand your audience. I'm here on your show because I'm trying to expand my audience. I want your
That's right.
people to know.
Exactly.
That's right.
And like you said, the thing about it is, in a lot of cases, the paths that are there also come with different roadblocks.
Right.
Yeah.
They also
Yeah.
they also come with different things that stop you in the middle of it. For example, most people, like you said, you sell at your church. You know,
Mhm.
you're a minister. You can sell at your church. People can go and sell at their job. You know, people can go and sell at the nail salon. The women go to a nail salon. People go on vacation. They can talk about they can talk about their books there. But then there are some roadblocks because some jobs you can't do any selling. I was in law enforcement. I couldn't sell my
Mhm.
book at the job.
Mhm.
I had to sneak it in, sneak it out, meet me at the car, that kind of stuff, because
Mhm.
you're not supposed to have a book on the job. You're not supposed to. But the thing about it is there are certain roadblocks. The other roadblocks that I ran into, like you said, is everybody ain't your friend
Right.
Yeah.
because everybody's trying to make money.
Right.
So you mentioned already twice. You might have mentioned it more than twice. If I'm listening right, because I try to catch everything. But the thing about it is, you mentioned it more than once, costs.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned more than once that this platform that you're servicing and that you're giving is free.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that again.
Wow.
You mentioned more than once that this platform is free.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Just like this platform that Felice and I do
Right.
is free.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
It's a way for you to get yourself started.
That's
We're
right.
not saying that you're going to stay here forever. No
That's right.
one's saying that you got to go every one of your mall sites that you
That's
have.
right. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this from my experience. I only turn on those things that look like it's a gimmick.
Mm.
If it looks like a
Yeah.
gimmick, I turn it down.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's
Okay, all you got to do is nod your head to Felice because usually she tells me that don't sound right.
right.
You know,
And,
if, if it's
and,
if
you
it's a,
know,
if it's a gimmick, I'm not going to get into it. But
yeah.
how does one know? And I'm gonna let Felice talk on this because
Mhm.
she's grand at it. Look, did you check this? Did you check that? You know, because of the simple fact that there are so many gimmicks out there,
Right. Right.
Mhm.
that the
Right.
new person that's anxious about selling their ware, their product, their book, their business, their
Mhm.
whatever is blindsided
Yeah.
Right.
by the gimmick.
Mhm. Yeah.
Felice?
Yeah. So, well, actually, because this is kind of how Nanette and I met, right? And so more so than the gimmick, it as we talked about marketing and promotion, and now past and Roblox, it's all about your presence, right? I was listening to you, and as you were explaining how you got to this point and what you've done to your books, you are totally vested in your offering. So, and a lot of times we see that when an author writes a book, of course they don't have the knowledge and the wisdom of what it takes to, um, you know, put it out there. But just like everything, it's all about presence. And
Right.
even when you are going to these conventions or book fairs or what have you, you go, and if you just show up, that's not enough. As you said, you need to know how to sell it. You need
That's
to
right.
know your product so well
Right.
that you can talk to anyone about it and figure out a way of how to connect with
Right.
where they are and with what your product is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So most of that is lost on the individual. And I think that's what really needs to be taught, because even that you have this wonderful platform that is free, people
Right.
will, let me go put it out there and let it do more than I'm willing to do
Right.
with my book, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
right.
even with the free platforms,
Right.
it's good as what how you value your offering to the world,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
And
And
so,
that's a good point. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, and I just want to apologize because I'm here in Dallas, Texas, and my allergies are on 10, and I thought I was going to be good, but I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
Big up to Zyrtec. I mean, I don't mean
Yeah.
to.
The other thing too that I want to add to that before you chime in is myself. Now, myself,
Mhm,
because I'm a traveler,
mhm,
I don't have a problem going to New York, even though I'm from there. I'm from New Jersey. So going to New York is like going home, although all my home people moved here. So I have no reason to go back to New York. But the
mhm,
thing is that going to New York, if your mall event is, say, that Saturday and that Sunday, or that Friday and that Saturday, I'm
mhm.
coming in on Thursday.
Right.
I may very well stay till Monday.
Mhm.
I'm not rushing in and rushing back out because
Yeah.
the frustration of that rush delusions me if I don't sell books.
Right.
You know what I mean? If
I
you,
hear you.
like you said, if you're going there to sell books, and I started with one or two books going to the Harlem Book Fair. I
Right.
was there when people were there with a whole table full, and I had one little book in the center of the table, and sitting there with my hands crossed going, come on over and see me, come on over and see me. Now they look at my table and they go, oh my goodness. You know what I mean? But the thing is, I had to build to get to that point. But the point of the matter is, like Felice said, my presentation, me being present in it. I'm not sitting at my table when you walk up to my table. I'm standing up to greet you. I'm not doing, there's certain things that you have to do. Although I wrote the book.
Right.
The work was done about the book. The work about selling is entirely different.
Right.
You have to learn. And even if you're in a mall, I've done Carl Weber's stores in Baltimore. I've done his bookstores. And even though I knew it was his store, I wasn't there to meet him.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to get up and sell the books, going into stores and I've been to different events where authors are, like you said, flying their books in or bringing their books with them, and the books don't get there on time.
Oh, I've been through that.
You know what I mean? The books don't get there.
And I still can't find those 50 books that I sent out.
Exactly. So
no one has ever found
I have a husband that does I have a husband that does inventory, and the last thing in the world is going to be missing is them books.
That's right.
So he's either bringing them with us, or we're there early enough. Like I said, I'm coming in on that Thursday so that those books get there by the time that Saturday event is coming up. But you have to be 100% in. Whereas when you're going in and you're getting paid by the boss and everything else, you ain't always 100% in. You go to work to get a check. But when you're an entrepreneur, you got to be 100%.
Everything. Yeah.
You got to. You got
to end, from writing the book to selling the book, your hustle has to be up every morning, every night. So let me say a little bit about the gimmick. I think that everyone in the beginning, your one book, my start out on Author Central Station, everybody's gonna think it's a gimmick at first. You have to build credibility.
Right.
Credibility means consistency. Credibility means presence. And that has to be built one brick at a time. Otherwise, people are gonna, there's a lot of stuff on the internet, a lot of stuff people are getting into, and people take your money and then they disappear immediately. And so it's important that we build credibility, and sometimes that can take months, other times that can take years, but it costs. And I want to be clear in terms of the freeness of the site. Most sites will charge you to upload your book and put your profile out there and connect with other readers. The only time we charge for our site is when you actually go to the mall, when you press it to go to the mall, when you say we're going to be in this mall and you keep all your proceeds. We only charge you for the space because they charge us for the space.
Sure.
This is about real estate. And so to a mall, it's about real estate, and what they charge us for, that's what we try to make a little profit from. But the majority of it, we're trying to get as close to people who are trying to make their own profit so that they can sell those books and they could gain credibility. But not only that, it's not only about the money sometimes in the beginning. When you go to those malls, even if people don't buy your book, you're connecting with them for social media.
That's right.
For social media, you're connecting with them. Let me have your email. You're connecting with them for different purposes. Follow me on this page, follow me here and there. So you can get an audience just from being around an audience of people. And you and as Nanette said, your pitch, your connection, how you communicate to people, that will determine whether they buy your book or whether they just follow you. Right. But you're trying to get something out of the conversation. You don't want to walk away empty-handed or leave money on the table. You got to get something out of it.
And two, I mean, when you are promoting your book, yes, it's about you, but it really needs to be about the other person, right? Because we talk about this all the time: transaction versus relationship, right? And when you connect with people, that's a relationship. Right. It's not, buy my book and I win because I got you to buy something that you probably don't even have an interest in. It's like,
you got that.
I win because you bought it, right? Whether you read it or anything else or give it to someone, So there has to be that element of that this, not only do you value what you are offering, but it is valuable to others, right?
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah,
you gotta be able to communicate that and explain that when you're
exactly.
talking to people, you
Yeah.
know. And it's great to
Mhm.
get that first sell,
Yeah.
especially beyond your family and friends. You're gonna feel
Right.
real good about
Yeah.
that. And you get another and you get another, you know, and you're refining your pitch each time. It is not gonna come out easily the first time. It's gonna come out where you're discombobulated, where you're not mentioning certain things. But after you keep doing it over and over again, whether they buying or not, your pitch becomes fine tuned, and ultimately somebody's going to hear your message. So that
Agreed.
becomes the deal
Mhm.
when you start
Yeah.
out. But
Yeah.
don't give up. You know, you
Right.
don't give up. You keep doing it.
Yeah. Agreed. Very good. Yeah.
And the thing that I think mostly is the connection that we have to make. There's
Right.
a connection, like Felice said, there's a connection that you have to make, and you sometimes say to yourself, well, if I'm making the right connection, how come I'm not making the right sale?
Right.
Mm.
You know, if I'm saying the right thing, and I said this before and it sold 5 books.
Mm.
Now I'm in a whole nother area and I didn't get anybody to say anything, you know, or
Right.
I went to this area and I sold 15 books, and
Mhm.
now I can't get anybody to ask me any questions
Right.
or to do anything.
Yep.
What's wrong? What am I doing wrong?
Right. Yep.
Sometimes you have to know the audience that you're pitching to.
Yeah. Exactly.
You
Yeah, I
Exactly.
was
you
gonna say
you
you
get
need to know how to read the room, right? You
you
Yeah.
know?
You
you
got to know
you
how to
got
read, and
you
you
got
can't do
you
the
got to know
same
the
pitch
audience that you're
everywhere.
pitching to.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us are looking for that instant gratification, and instant
Mm.
gratification only means that you're gonna get stuffed.
Right.
Right.
You know that's always been
Again.
my motto. You eat enough of those grapes that you like, and see don't your stomach hurt. You
Right.
know,
Right.
you eat enough of that good eating, and see don't you have to sit back and belch a little bit. So you
Yeah.
Well,
gotta you gotta be able to eat and consume on immediate level,
yeah.
but also you have to feed on that same level. You got you
And
got to
I think
feed
I
you got to
learned.
feed the audience. You got to feed your
Yeah.
audience,
You got to
because
feed
a
your
lot of
audience.
times, especially when you go to events that are events, you know, if you
Mhm.
go into a bookstop, if you go into a bookstore, it doesn't matter because all people come in a bookstore.
Right.
But if you
Okay.
go into an event and you got children books, but the
Mhm.
discussion is adult mental wellness,
Yeah.
your children books aren't going to sell.
Yeah, it's not, and you shouldn't even be there. I mean, for
Right.
that to
Right.
say,
Exactly.
so
So
you
you
got to know where you belong and where you don't belong. But I
exactly
like what
you have
you just said in terms of that. You know, you got to know your audience. I learned that many moons ago when I first started preaching. And I thought that, you know, I preach at one church. Oh, they liked that sermon. And they shouted and jumped. Then I tried that on another church. I said, they didn't even move.
right,
But
right,
you
right,
looking at it like, okay, I could use this anywhere. But the
Yeah.
right,
truth of the
right.
matter is you gotta know who you're talking to. You gotta
Who you
read that
talking
room,
to?
like you know, like you just said. And so Felicia said, but it becomes, you know, you gotta size people up even before they come to you.
Yeah.
You gotta look them. You gotta look them in their eyes. You gotta be able to question them or listen to them when they say
Mhm.
something, and you're gonna catch something in that conversation where you can relate to and they can relate to you.
Right. And of course, we all respond to confidence, right? If
Right.
if you're confident, you know your book, your subject matter, and again,
Exactly.
yeah, people respond to that. So the confidence in which you approach something um, speaks volumes. So, and if you're not confident in it, how are you going to expect somebody else to be
Right.
confident?
Exactly.
And,
Yeah, you
and
can't
so, yeah, and so
can't half
again,
step.
yeah, it's once again, don't expect something from someone else that you're not willing to give, right?
Right.
Um, so in that,
And
so
we have to understand too that every reader, there's some readers, people read everything, and then there's some people that are particular about what
right.
they read. There are people
Mhm.
that are particular. The one person that annoys me more than anything else, and I say it all the time, is the person that walks by the table and says, nah, I don't read. That's the person that annoys me to no end. And it's not so much, that they annoy me because they say it or that they don't want to read my book. My thing is, you never want to tell someone how ignorant you are that you don't read. You
Well,
know,
why
you
are you
read.
at a book fair if you don't read? That's my first question. What are you doing here?
And I
Are you,
mean,
then there are conventions also. They have all different kinds of stuff they promote.
yes,
You know,
yes,
so you don't know.
yeah.
understood.
They wear clothes, so they may buy that
There
and
you go. Okay,
different
yeah.
things, information.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, they just stop by the table. But I talk to them too. I
Yeah.
I
talk
do
to them too.
too. And
You
and,
know?
and immediately, especially down
Yeah,
here in the
Mhm.
South, immediately I ask them, "Do you read your Bible?"
yeah,
Mm.
right.
And then immediately it goes, "Oh, well, yes, of course I read the Bible." Well, if you
Mhm.
read the
Yeah.
Bible, then you are a reader.
You are a reader,
Yeah.
right?
You
You know,
are
you
reading.
read,
Yeah.
now I'm not going to tell you that every book I have on this table is for you and your Bible.
Right.
However, the issues that we go through, and I think that's one of the things that people have to understand too, whatever your topic is, don't think that you're the only person going through that topic.
That's
Right.
right.
Yeah,
Don't think that,
that's right.
because I remember having a young lady, and I don't know how many times you've come across this with different authors. I had a young lady that contacted me. My book hadn't even came out yet. I was doing a promo, and I was kind of testing the waters for the cover.
Mm.
And I put the picture up, and I put the title up. The young lady contacted me in a message, and she said, you got my book cover."
Mm.
Do I?
Wow.
I said, "Oh, really?" She said, "Yes, yes, my book is going to be published within 2 months, and you've got my cover."
Oh.
I said, "Oh, did you copyright your cover?" And she said, "No." I said, "Because you can't." I
Right.
said, "So if you got your cover," and I named where I picked the picture up from. I said, "If you got your cover from there, that's a royalty-free picture."
Mm.
Yeah.
So there's aspects of creating, especially for
Right.
self-publishing,
Right. Right.
that you have to know
That's right.
before you
Yeah.
put the material out there.
Yeah.
You can't go to Author Central, put your
Right.
stuff up on Author Central, and
Right.
not be sure that everything that you're putting up there is legitimately right, because
Right.
Author Central does not take the responsibility for
That's right. And we let them know that. We
Yeah.
let them know.
that.
Immediately, you put your stuff up there. Number one, if you don't own it, it's on you. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Don't come up and say you own something and you really don't own it. You know, I'm
Right.
not getting in trouble for your foolishness.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's some of the things that they have to know when you go to put things on a
Mm-hmm.
platform.
Mm-hmm.
Know what you're doing now. Know
Right.
where you're going. Know what you're doing,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
understand the rules and regulations of what you're doing. Because the minute that she said it, I said to her, "Well, sweetie, I'm gonna do you a favor. I'm gonna do you a favor
Uh,
because I've published X amount of books, and this is your
right.
very first book, and you seem to be adamant about this cover.
Uh-huh.
Have it.
Take it.
Have it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go create another cover
Right. Yeah.
because
Well, and
you can't copyright a cover. You can't.
yeah.
It's not possible. How many? And I said to her, "How many movies have you seen with the same name?
Right.
How many books have you seen with the same name?" Those
Right.
are things that you can't copyright. But that's a
Right.
part of knowing the business. And
Right.
like you said, if I'm going to go get on Author Central Station,
Mm-hmm.
check it out.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Go and find out what it is.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't argue with him about what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Go and find
Right.
out what it is.
That's right.
Well, and to that point, because again, Ed, I think this is a brilliant thing that you've done with your book, as you were saying about having conferences and gatherings around a subject matter,
Right.
and taking it and expanding it on there. And a lot of authors, that's another deficit for the mindset, is
Right.
that that you don't think outside the box per se.
Right.
In knowing, what to do with it, right? How to make it a living, breathing thing, right? And again, getting the your presence and
Right.
the book's presence, because you want it to come outside of your presence and be a presence of its own, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah. And so by doing the things that you're doing, like, having conferences and making it more, again, it depends on the book on how you can do this or not do it, but
Right.
just figuring out those ways of really connecting with people all the time, because, I like when I got into marketing lightly for entrepreneurs, a lot of entrepreneurs didn't know what to do, right? And I
Right.
was like, so it's like, connecting with your audience if they have a love for basketball, right?
Yeah.
If you have that love, then you connect with them that way, and then it leads into your,
Yeah.
your book or your offering or whatever. But first, it's that connection, it's that support of, your shared likenesses, right?
Right. Exactly.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's just another way to really, like, when marketing is not selling. It's
Right.
not like
No,
Right.
no.
Yeah. Totally
but
different.
it's not
Yeah.
that. It's totally
Right.
different.
Yeah.
And so that's another
They don't
challenge.
understand that though.
Right. They
So
don't.
when you're pulling somebody in, when you're pulling someone into a place like Author Central, and I ask this because lately, this is the new fad, I guess, that's going around. I've been getting these groups of people that have been asking me to, they looked at my book and they want to present it to ABC Book Club. They want to present it. So they want me to pay them for them to present my book to their book club.
Mm.
Yeah, see that frown you got? See that
Yeah.
frown you got?
Yeah.
That's the
I've never heard that.
same. So my thing is, okay, you got a book club that wants to read my book. Now I'll say I'm old school because I've been published since 2007. So maybe it's old now. Maybe that's old school now.
Mhm.
Book
Yeah.
club contacts you and says, "Hey, we got a book club. We want to read
Yeah.
your book. We want to read your book. Can you send us the books? We'll send you the money, and then when we finish reading the book, we'd like to have you in for a discussion with your book."
Right.
Okay. These people are saying that they read the book or they're going to read the book. They want to present the book to the club, and now they want me to pay for someone else in the club who read the book to present it to the other club members so that they could read the book, and they want me to pay. So I asked the lady, and this has happened like 4 or 5 times now within the last year.
Wow.
I asked them, different people, supposedly, I asked them, well, who's paying for the books that you guys are getting books? Are you getting a discount? Are you buying through Prime? How are you buying your books? Let's talk about, the sales of the club getting books.
Right.
They said, oh, no. We're going to get the ebook. Okay. You're getting ebooks. All right. You're getting the ebooks, but then you want me to pay you after I've taken a cut because you got an ebook. Now I got to pay you to read the book.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't know if I've been in that situation, because many times when I'm doing conferences or conventions or
It's the
just
book.
it's the book. And what I do is, because Amazon sells it so much less, I tell them they're gonna buy it from me from a certain amount of money. I'm gonna get it from
Exactly.
Amazon, and then I'm gonna make my little bit of something
I
there.
make a little bit more money.
Right. But
Yes.
you're not gonna tell me
How am I getting trapped
to pay
into
for
this?
my
So,
book. You want me to pay for my own book, it sounds like.
and this was the question that they asked me. Well, you're writing it, we're reading it. Is there a difference in the cost?
Okay. Yeah, I gotta figure that.
Yeah. We got we.
Yeah, I was like,
maybe that's
this is
something I will encounter, but I haven't encountered that yet. But I
I
don't
said,
think
this is a
I
perfect
gotta
question.
work that one.
This is a perfect question for Mr. Mulraine because I got to ask him. Now, listen,
Yeah.
this is a new thing. I don't know if it's social media. I don't know what it is, but they're asking me if you're writing it and you want us to read it, is there a difference in how we get it? Is there a
Wow.
difference in how we pay? Yes, there's a difference.
Is there a difference in how they would get it to read it?
Right, because now, in other words, they don't want to pay. They want to pay like, hey, you just give me the book.
Right.
That's basically what they're telling me. We want to pay. We want to pay $2 and whatever cent for the ebook, or $5 for the ebook, or I charge $10 for my ebooks. But
Right,
at any rate,
right.
we want to pay that for the ebook.
Yeah.
We don't want to give you credit for the book and pay that $15 for the book. And what's the difference?
I mean, I think this is where your standards come in terms of what you will accept and what you won't accept.
And there you go.
And you do want people to know your name. You know, people to read your book, but you're not going to do that. You ain't going to do that. You're not going to do that to Michelle Obama. You're not going to say that. You know,
right?
And because she's going to come at you, and her people are going to come at you and say, "This is what it requires for you to even have her book."
Open up the page. For you to even open the page,
they're going to charge you before you even open the page.
Right. And that's the part. That's the part that I wanted you to express. That a lot of the things that we do as authors, even giving out a platform for you to come on, I want you to be presented in the best light possible.
Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that I'm giving up your integrity or my integrity.
Right. Yeah.
Just to have you be, no, I'm not doing that.
You have to establish your standards. And of course, initially, and I think when first or new beginners are starting out, but you're 17 deep, where in terms of your books. But if you, initially, and maybe you want to get it out there to different people, I think you bite the bullet on a lot of things and say, okay, I'm going to do this. And because I want other people to know my book, I want other people to know my name. And then, of course, with ebooks on Amazon, if they got like 500 people and all of those people are buying your books, you can shoot up. Now you become recognizable. So it's not a total loss. It's just as you grow and you're branding yourself, do you want to accept just anything?
And not only that, I guaranteed, I'm quite sure that there are people like myself. I have a book based on my cancer experience. And what I do is a lot of times just the spirit between me and the reader will cause me to just tell the person, take this book.
Exactly.
You need this book.
Yeah, I've done that.
You know what I mean?
That man with all my books. I just at a conference. Here, you take this, brother.
Again, that's about connecting instead of transacting, right?
Exactly. Right. But I'm not gonna, and I'm saying this to those that are looking into writing and putting their books out there. You don't have to eat everything they feed you.
That's right. That's right.
Don't get on the idea of everything they feed you. I would not have this man on my show had I not vetted what he's doing.
Right. That's right.
If it had not been for me vetting and saying, okay, he's legitimate about this, and this, I can't even tell you how many times I emailed him to say, this is what this is. Regardless to what you want it to be, this is the way that this is going to be. And he just said, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm more interested in the platform. Once I get here, we're promoting. Let's
do what we got to do. Let's do what we got to do.
Beyond us. I think it's also beyond us. I think there's many people out there that need to know this process. And like I said, I think everybody has a story. And I would say one thing for all the authors or writers and everybody out there, before you put your stuff out there, and it should be easier these days with AI and Grammarly and all that stuff, but make sure your writing is succinct and that it's flawless. Put it that way.
Right.
People who can't write and you got a story. I've seen the book, but I had to reject them, or I had to work.
And not only that, understand a little bit about how the mechanics work.
Right.
The storytelling. The mechanics of it.
Yeah.
You can't. I do a class on children books, and there's like a certain grade level where you change your writing.
Right.
From being the little itty bitty kid that you're teaching how to spell to the kid that's learning how to read chapter books to the kid that's now reading the novel to the kids that's, doing the Harry Potter thing to the kid that's now into young romance and you can't feed all of that to the kindergarten kid,
Or
And
vice
you can't, right, vice versa. You have to know what you're doing and understand that if you're rejected,
Right.
that just means you got to correct it.
Right.
It's not rejection because you're not able to do it. It's
Right.
rejection because we want you to put out your best.
Right.
Nobody
Exactly.
wants to get out there to find out that your book is not what your book is supposed to
Right.
be.
Yeah. Yeah. Your standards are very important, and we should not accept mediocrity. We should not accept that when it comes to writing. And if somebody tells you that this needs more work and that it needs more development if you're writing a story, or it needs better connection in terms of grammar and connecting with
Mm-hmm.
the people, I think that don't take that as a rejection or as a hit. It's to make you better, it's to excel your writing, and it's to make people feel like you truly are, or you have a book that they can actually read without trying to figure out what you're trying to say. And it becomes very important
Ooh,
because you
say
see a lot of people
that.
that really just put out the story, but it's
Mhm.
discombobulated.
Yeah.
The grammar, and I've had these situations. I've helped people,
I know.
and they
We
actually put it out there
yeah.
and promote it and
Yeah.
sell it, and then when you read it, it's like there are words missing. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
this is not the right vocabulary word for
Yeah.
this. So
Yeah.
this grammar is totally off. You
Uh-huh.
can't, and everybody, the best writers need grammar check. The best
Yeah.
writers need development and story check. The best
That's
writers
right.
out there. So who are you to
And
say that I can just put something pen
mhm.
to paper,
Yeah.
And
put it
not
on a
only that, understand this, and it's happened to me a couple of times. Although you go through all of the mechanics, you got a great editor, you got somebody that's great at
right,
finding the mistakes and finding everything. Please, please, please stop selling your book immediately without looking at that proof.
right, exactly, yeah. And even
Look at that
Amazon
proof,
allows you to prove
because a lot of
before you even
times,
ship it
even
to it.
in exactly, and not only
Uh-huh.
that, even in our educational books, I've found it that there are some things dropped off. There
Right,
are some things that are printed and cut off. There are
right,
some things that have been misguided or whatever.
right,
So check it before you put
right,
it out there for
exactly,
the masses.
exactly.
Check
You
it.
know,
It's
and
like checking
everybody
yourself
makes it.
before you go out that door in the morning. You want to make
Exactly.
sure everything's intact before you walk out that
Yeah.
door.
Yeah. You
Because
so
you
much
don't
in a
want somebody
rush
to
to
tell you
sell.
down the street, "Hey
Right.
man, your zipper is down." You're looking at them, "Oh my God, how long was
Right.
that going on?"
Yeah. Right.
You
Yeah.
don't want that. So you want to make sure that everything is correct when you're
Right.
presenting it to the
Yeah.
masses. You
Yeah.
you
And
want
have
to do
somebody
that.
else look at it because it's hard for us to correct
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. When you're
Mm-hmm.
reading it for what you think you wrote. You're trying to get it
Mm-hmm.
on ahead. You may skip essential things that need to be changed. Let somebody else read it, you know? And it
Mm-hmm.
happens to the best of us. I read reading the New York Times the other day, and they had two of the same sentences. I said, nobody went over this. And this is the New York Times. So it happens
Right,
to the best
right.
of us, but you're so insistent on rushing
Yeah.
stuff that you just miss out on the basics of trying to make sure that people understand and know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
So
So
that would
tell
all
So
writers.
tell the audience, what is the process? I mean, of course, going to the platform and signing in and everything else.
Right,
But what is the process? How what do I do if I'm an author and I'm interested
right,
in just getting on Author Central or learning more? I know if I go to the website, I can read it,
right,
but we ain't all reading and understanding. So
right.
what is it that happens once
Yeah.
I go to Author Central?
Once you go to Author Central Station, I'll give you the full process real quick. You sign up as a reader. If you're a reader and you're interested in books, you sign up as that. They'll have the different genres that you can choose from. You can say, I'm mystery. I love memoirs. I love autobiographies. Those will pop up on your page from people who are already on there. Nanette, your book popped up on just about everybody's page because you have so many different kinds of books. So when the readers will get a sense of what type of titles are actually on the site, and they create their own platform. They can communicate from reader to writer and say that I'm interested in your book. Can you just send me some more information about it? And when the author gets that, they may communicate with them. As an author, you sign up, you give us all the necessary information to build your platform. we let you know that we do not accept every book for the mall, because not all malls will accept every book. You know, if it's sexually explicit on a cover, if you have sexual photo pictures, malls won't accept that. But you can sell it on the site. It's freedom of speech on the site. So other readers may see it and say, I want to check that out. So you have two ways of selling. And as you're an author, you build that platform and you try to connect with readers. But the most essential thing is trying to build up a different audience than the ones you already know. We're increasing our readers, but the most important thing is trying to get people face to face with readers, with shoppers that are out there. And that's why we connected with the malls, because they have foot traffic, because they have shoppers, and because they have people that you never know are interested in writers, especially for the children authors. Those are big ones in the malls. And we just connected, and that, you know, the American Dream Mall, we just connected with them. And that's an entertainment mall. It's 1 million square feet. It has a lot of games and stuff in it. I just took my son there yesterday. Great place to be. And so our process is simply trying to get authors more visible, because with a traditional publishing industry, they set up book signings all over there. They pay for it for you to go there because they want your book to go. They set up platforms on radio and stuff like that. But most of us can't afford that stuff. So we're saying that we can set you up in malls where you can meet and greet people. You can either get your book sold, or you can get your emails increased, or you can get your social media increased. But most of all, when those people leave, they know that they got a book signed from the actual authors. And statistics will show that more people are more likely to buy a book from someone they see that's selling it, rather than just going to the shelves and picking it off of there. That's where we caught the site and the people.
And not only that, the thing about it is, if you can get someone, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. It was like the best lesson ever. We went to a hair show in Baltimore. Like I said, I go everywhere. You contact me and say, hey, can you bring your books? Yeah, I'm bringing them. I'll bring them. I have learned. We looked over the books and we were like, we're going to Baltimore. We go stay for the weekend. Take the last 3 books. Don't take that one. That one's old. Take this one. Don't take this one. Don't take that one. And we get to the mall and we set up, you know, and they got the hair show going on. So it's packed. But what do people do when they're in the salon? They read, right?
We didn't wait. Yeah.
So best place to be for author. Best place to be. Now we're there, and a lady comes up, and she says, "I'd like to get your book. I don't know the name of it, but on the cover is a picture of a gun and roses and pearls, and I don't know the name of it." I said, "I know exactly what you're talking about." I go in the cart, and my husband looks at me and goes, "Here." So, huh? I said, "Well, ma'am, I'm sorry. I think we might have sold out of that copy." She said, "Well, can I get all your information and everything, your card and everything? Because I'd like to order that book." You know, a young lady referred it to me. Okay. I cannot tell you how many books we would have sold of that one book that day. Why? Because the young lady that referred them was the young lady that lived in Baltimore.
Wow.
So guess what? Now we take 5 cases of books everywhere we go, and at least 5 books of each one of the books. Because you never know what you're going to sell or what you're not going to sell. But it taught me a lesson, another lesson. Woman, very popular writer, high up there writer. We went to Kansas, I believe it was. We were in Kansas, and she had to have the book shipped from where she lived to Kansas. And she got there on, Saturday morning. We're both at the checking in and doing what we got to do. She said, "Well, where's your UPS store? I'm looking for this UPS store on such and such avenue." And the lady goes, "Oh, it's right around the corner, but it's closed today. We don't do UPS on Saturdays and Sundays."
Oh, wow.
No books. No books.
Wow.
So my husband is adamant. We're going to leave early, and we're taking every book you got with us. because We're not doing it that way. But when you have a
Yeah.
platform such as Author Central, and you
Right.
have your websites,
That's
and you
right.
have your social media,
That's
Yeah.
and
right.
you have everything else, you have
Yep.
an audience that you don't know where they are.
That's
That's
right.
right.
That's right. And
You
that's what
don't know.
nation
You
does.
you don't know. You
Yep.
don't know who in your audience is going to be reaching out to you to say, "Hey, I heard you're going to be in Boston this week. I'll be there." And you're
Yeah.
Yep.
like, "Huh?" Because
Yeah.
you don't know. You
Yeah.
don't know who's in the audience. So
And
you
you
have to
become our featured
prepare.
author. You actually become our featured author. Whenever somebody signs up for more, everybody will know about it because they're on the front home page of
Wow.
our site. So you
Right.
you look like a star. Featured author will be such
Mhm.
and such at the Palisades Mall, at the Dream Mall. All
Right.
of them become featured authors. So now you're looking more than just like a novice. You're looking
Yeah.
like a big time author that has been around for a long time. And that's all
And
we're
you have
trying
to
to do.
carry yourself as such.
Yeah, you
Carry
got to
yourself.
exactly
Carry
carry your
yourself
book,
as such. Have
carry
business
everything.
cards. Have your information.
Yeah,
Don't have
yeah,
things that people have to question you and ask.
right,
Don't write your number on a piece of paper.
right,
You
right.
know, have some business cards. You know,
Yeah,
do things the right way, and you'll
yeah,
be surprised.
exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
two of the things that you worded. These are your words that you showed us, and you
Mhm.
said to uh to wait a minute, let me find out what's going on here. I can't pull up the words here.
Mhm.
Here we go, Felice.
Well,
The buttons aren't buttoning. There
there
we
you
go.
go. See, you didn't have
Okay.
to just give us that.
A writer must be a writer at all times. A reader must be a reader at all times. Your
Mhm.
meaning, sir?
I would just say that, yeah, and even if you're not writing, I think
Mhm.
you're always thinking about the words that you're going to say, and
Mm.
this is where a piece of paper does come in handy. Is
Mhm.
that you start writing down, and I've done this all my life. Martin Luther King used to do it. You start writing down and jotting down anything that comes to your mind that may be connected and may be built upon as a writer. So you are writing at all times. Reading informs your writing. I believe
Mm.
that the way you
Mm.
get to the place
Mhm.
of really becoming a good writer is that you
Yeah.
need information. You need statistics. You need, and it depends on what kind of writer you are. But I think from reading, you get creativity, and it doesn't have to be anybody else, but just knowing that you've seen it. And I would add to that watching. I mean, just watching movies, you get
Yeah.
creativity. You just get a sense of if you're in this vein of a writer, you get something from everything. A dog walking down the street, you
Yeah.
know, a person talking to themselves. I think all of that is informative in terms of your writing ability as well as in terms of your creativity. So a writer must be a writer at all time, and the reader must be a reader at all time. But reading definitely informs your writing, and writing creates the reading.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Very
you can
good.
reach out to Edward Mulraine on at www.authorcentralstation.com. Please, 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 please. If you are new,
Yes,
if you are in between and don't know where you are, or if you're seasoned, this is a platform that will help you elevate. Whatever stage you're on, it will help you elevate to the next stage. It will help you become better at who you are because the more you have an audience, a live audience in front
Mhm.
of you, the better you become at speaking, the better you become at presentation, the better you come at understanding your work. When you hear others talk about your work, you hear what they say, and
right.
Yeah.
you can bank on that. So there's all kind of things that you learn when you join these type platforms. He can also be reached on his email. You can reach him, by email. Contact him on his email, and make sure that your email is thorough enough for him to understand what you want.
Yeah,
We're not talking about just emailing them saying, "Well, I just wanted to write a book," but that's not telling them anything. If you got a book that you want to go on Author Central,
Mhm.
then that's what he's talking about. He's talking about giving you a platform, not you got a book and it's coming out 2 years from now, or you're in the beginning process. That's not what that platform is for. That platform is actually for selling books. So
that's
you
right.
want to make sure that you're ready with what you have. Felice has a last question for you. we're going to tie this in with her question.
Yes. Okay. Well, once again, Mr. Ed Mulraine, it's been a pleasure to meet you and have this discussion with you. And again, my deepest apologies for these allergies.
I
We're
understand.
not letting me be great, and I pray that it wasn't too much of a distraction. Um, so, however, and thank you for your gifts that you share with the world. I always am very grateful. As my title says, I'm a celebrator of entrepreneurs because again, they're out there in the forefront, offering in this world that is just like, will beat and batter you instead of
Right.
celebrate you first. So thank you for your gifts
Thank
and
you.
that you share with the world. So we do appreciate them. And we want to let all of our audience know that there is a person and a process behind all the gifts that you share with the world, right? I think it was Les Brown that says, you meet a person where they are, so you don't know the story behind it, right?
Mm.
So you see their gifts and you get to conjure up all these things about the gift and whether you're on target or not. So I say all this to say we ask everyone that comes here to share with us, what do you do to fill your cup? What do you do to give back to you so that you can continually put your gift out to the world?
I think my most important thing, and I don't do it enough like I should,
Okay.
is to go to an exiled, secluded place,
Mm-hmm.
mostly mountains. I'm a mountain type guy like Moses,
Sure.
and just to get away
Mm-hmm.
and replenish, refresh, revive, in order that I might be able to see clearly. And when I say see, I'm not talking about with my eyes. I'm
Yes.
talking about the clarity of mind. I'm talking
Mhm.
about the clarity of soul,
Mm-hmm.
empty out so that I could get refilled. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that that helps me in terms of my discipline
Yeah.
of writing, my that discipline of reading. I read every morning,
Mm-hmm.
and just to make sure that I am healthy in my own way, because I know things can happen, but I try to make sure I get my exercise in as well, so that
Mm-hmm.
I can constantly stay. At least mentally clear, the
Yeah.
body goes away, but reading helps longevity. Writing and reading helps longevity with the mind, most of all. And I think that I try to do that to get away in order to feel refreshed so that when it does come time to writing, I can spill it out. And sometimes I've been in a place, and I don't know if you've been hitting that, where you could write for 4 or 5 hours and not even realize it.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I've been in that space where it's just concentrated. And
Yeah.
and of course you got to go back, edit and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the flow, it's there. And I
Yeah.
think it's important that people just take time out, meditate, um,
Mm-hmm.
get away, mountaintop, wherever you feel. Some people beaches, some people like to sailing. My pastor loved to sail, you know. Wherever you feel like that's your place of refreshing and
Yeah.
reviving and not
Uh,
doing anything, and let the
mhm.
thoughts run through you, and keep that pen and paper nearby or your phone. I do it on notes now,
Sure.
so that people can, so that you can get out whatever's coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Mhm. Mhm.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for sharing that because again, it is what keeps you going and that's important. That
right.
is so important for having a refilling and eternal self-care that everyone should have. And
Right.
so thank you for sharing that with
Thank
us.
you. Thank you for
Well,
asking.
we want to thank you for being here. We want to thank you for the things that you do and for encouraging others to continue what they do. So we want to make sure that everyone understands authorcentralstation.com is the place to go if you want your writing to go to the next level, regardless of what level you're on. Everybody wants to move up. No matter where you are, you want to climb up. There's no one looking to step down. Everybody's looking to step up.
That's
So we
right.
want you to step up and contact uh, authorcentral.com with your authorcentralstation.com with your information and everything that you have, so that we can get you on the platform, get you ready. And as he said, you're looking at malls not only far but near you. wherever you're from, it doesn't matter. You're in New Jersey, you're in New York, you're in Baltimore, wherever you are, we're looking for it. And if you're near a mall where you think they need that type of connection, give them that information as well so that they can look into, hey, how do we get the mall that's in such and such place? We want to add malls to the list as well, because after a while, the brick and mortars will be gone, but the malls will be there forever. They ain't gonna let the malls go.
That's the money maker right there.
Yeah, they ain't gonna let the malls go.
They're gonna
So
do
I
all
want
kinds of new stuff.
yes.
You know.
So I want to thank you for the time you spent with us. We appreciate you. Felice, of course, I want to thank you, and I want to thank the audience for looking in. Those of you that want to see the replay, you want to come back, make sure you check out the YouTube channel or check it out on my page, www.nanetteMbuchanan.com. You can check it out at any time you want. So thank you again. Good night. Good night to everyone.
Let me thank you, and let's thank you. Let's thank Nanette.
Yes.
God bless you all. You're really doing a great job. Continue doing what you're doing. I mean, it really.
Yes. We're gonna try. We're gonna try.
No, you're doing it. You're doing it. You're writing it. And get all in Nanette's books. Felice, do you have any books?
Good night.